friends, welcome to another Pick a Card Tarot video. So today we are going to be doing another Pick a Deck reading. So I have 4 decks for you to choose from today, so there'll be 4 readings. Today we're going to be looking at messages on what is your inner conflict. So this is assuming obviously that you have an inner conflict, but even if you don't feel like you do, you might get some important messages from this reading anyway. So take them all with a grain of salt, but feel free to choose a pile anyway, and we'll see if we can get you some messages. So like I said, we have 4 piles for you to choose from today. Pile number 1 with the Smith-Waite deck, pile number 2 with the Universal Waite deck, pile number 3 with the 1JJ Swiss deck, and pile number 4 with the Wild Unknown Tarot. Once again, we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. I will now leave you to find your reading. Down in the description section of this video, you will find a link to your reading. Hi, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So this week is going to be all about resolving your inner conflict. So we're going to be asking some questions about what your inner conflict might be, and then we'll look at some solutions. So you chose this new deck I just got, which I'm so in love with. It's the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but this one's called the Smith-Waite deck, and it prioritizes the original Pamela Cole Smith illustrations, and so it takes it and gives it the original 1909 coloring. It was released for the centennial in 2009, and I'm in love with it. It's my favorite. I wanted to get a new version of the deck because the one that I have, the Universal Waite deck, I'm not a huge fan of the colorization in it. It's okay, but it's just not my favorite. So let's dive into your reading. What is your internal conflict? So we're going to do 3 cards for that first, and then I might choose from other decks and stuff too, just to see. But let's find out. What is your internal conflict? 3 cards, Spirit, for their internal conflict. 1. What is their internal conflict? That's a lot of cards, so we'll use these. This is going to be 3 cards for solutions coming up next. But we want 1 more card for their internal conflict. Okay, yep, there we go. Okay, so 3 cards. We've got, oh man, all right. We've got the Devil here. And I don't normally read reversals, but for you right now, it's just calling me to do so. We've got Strength in reverse, and we've got the 5 of Cups here. So this is interesting. Your internal conflict is coming from this sort of interesting place here. So as with most internal conflicts, we're looking at an issue with what's going on in your mind more so than anything else. But I think for you, it's sort of this all-encompassing difficulty in seeing your own strength. It's a perspective thing. You're stuck in sort of that defeatist, self-defeatist perspective is kind of what I'm feeling from this. It's like that idea that, like, you know, you look at every little thing sometimes, and take this as it resonates. If this doesn't resonate, you could have a different pile. This could be an extreme version of what you do. I'm not saying this is all that you do. We're just trying to get to the very root of what your internal conflict is and try to give you some solutions on that. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt. But what I'm feeling is it's that mentality that, you know, you might take every little thing that goes wrong as a reason why everything about you is wrong. You know what I mean? Like using every little excuse, like, oh gosh darn it, I got a paper cut, I'm so terrible. You know, you might be doing that kind of thing. Like, oh my gosh, I got a flat tire last week. Oh man, isn't life terrible for me? You know, like, and it could be a very basic of that or a more extreme version of that. But that's kind of the mentality I'm getting from this. And so it's like every little every little thing that goes wrong is an excuse for you to put yourself down, right? And I don't necessarily, you know, I don't necessarily think that that's something that, you know, I feel like that comes from having some difficult things happen in your life, you know? With the grief card here, the Five of Cups is the grief card. It's all about this idea of, you know, taking small things. Well, it's like, so look at this card, right? He's forlorn over these three cups that have fallen over, and he's mourning them. It's a tragic thing, and it's not that there's no way around the fact that the three cups that have fallen over, like, that really sucks. It's not great news, right? It's really horrible, and in fact it can be anything as extreme as like really challenging, difficult things happening in your life. But the thing about it is that there's actually this built-in perspective shift that's in this card that actually makes this, and I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, so it's kind of cool. This is actually my favorite tarot card, surprisingly enough. I know it's the grief card, but it has this built-in transformational element to it that is super powerful. And you know what that transformational element is it's the fact that behind him are sitting two cups that are upright still. And so it's this idea that even though these difficult and terrible things have happened, there are still beautiful things remaining in his life. And in fact, this card can signify the idea that now it's actually much easier to see the things in life that are good for you because they are what's remaining. You know, even though you have lost these things that maybe you thought were important to you, you were trying to juggle five cups when in reality it's the two cups that were the most important that are behind you, and now those are what's remaining. So you can just let these go. Now that's a difficult thing to do, right? It's difficult to let these things go. And so it's like the universe is trying to get you to see, and we'll look at these other cards here, but sort of where your internal conflict is coming from is this idea that you are sweating the small stuff, right? Like, that's what this is all about. You are using these little tiny things that don't matter to signify your own, you know, lack of self-worth with the Devil card. The Devil is interesting because it's all about, you see there's these two people who are chained to the Devil. So it's like the Devil isn't necessarily like super demonic. It's just the things in life that we are chained to. You know, it's the excuses that we give ourselves over the idea of like, oh, well, this thing is like this, so that means I can't possibly be anything. You know what I mean? Like, let me give you a concrete example of this. It's like the idea that, like, you know, oh, you know, I have all of these reasons in my head on why I can't follow what I really want to do in life. Well, oh, you know, I'll never make enough money doing that, so I can't do that. You know, like, oh, you know, I can't find the things that make me happy because, you know, I have to pay for the apartment that I'm living in, and I have to, you know, I have all of these bills that are super important, and I have all of these situations that I'm tied to. And it doesn't have to be that. A lot of times it can talk about addictions and stuff too, and I'll get to that. But you know, it's that excuse, I think, for you, you know, where you're giving your power. With the Strength in reverse here, it's this idea that you're giving your power away. We're all sovereign, powerful beings, every single human on this planet. And so for you, you know, I feel like it's this idea that you're giving your power away to all of these little situations in life that are actually meaningless. You know, in reality, oh, your apartment's too expensive. You have the ability to move at some point, you know, and if you work with the universe, you know, you might have to do some sacrificing here and there, but there's potentiality there. And I know everyone's situation's different. I don't want to imply that, you know, that you don't have it hard, because you probably do. But it's like with this grief card, it's all about that perspective shift. You do have it hard. I'm not telling you don't have it hard. But there are still remaining these two beautiful cups that are there to give you a new sense of direction, a new way to move forward. And so that's what that's all about. Let's look at these other cards here. It's like you do have control over something in your life, even if it's not everything, even if you feel like you're in a situation that you're totally powerless, right? It might take time to build your way out of that hole. The Devil card is all about that, especially if you have addictions. With addictions, it's all about escapism. You're trying to escape, not looking at the inherent issue that's within you. And so it's like, with that internal conflict, you probably don't even want to look at the internal conflict. And so you just feel stuck in life in all of these different directions, when it's like that internal conflict can be resolved by you giving a firm, clear look at it, even the things you don't want to look at. So now let's look at these are some potential solution cards here. So so we just got more of the same with that Sun in reverse. I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's like what I've been talking about. You're not seeing where the sun is shining in your life, because the sun is shining for all of us all the time. We all have a connection to the divine. We all have a connection to beauty. We all have a connection to wonderful, open love and loving connection. And so it's like you're being asked by the universe. One way to work out your internal conflict is to flip that sun from reverse into upright. What that means is it's starting to see the beautiful things that you have in your life. And so I'm gonna prescribe you something. You don't have to follow my advice at all. Like, hands down, this doesn't resonate, that's fine. But practicing gratitude is the biggest, easiest way to go from these depressive moods or these sort of negative mindsets into starting to see the small things that are working for you. There are some wonderful gratitude meditations. There's one from this group called I think it's called the Meditative Movement on YouTube, but just Google gratitude meditation. So helpful. But what that does is it starts to change your perspective. So it starts to say, like, by focusing on the little things in life that are working for you, it transforms everything. It transforms all of the situations that are putting you down and brings them into an alignment that is, much more in your wheelhouse. And so, we've got with these other cards here some more advice. So, I think you probably feel like the Ten of Swords right now, especially in the internal. Look at him. He's been killed by all of these swords, right? But the thing about it is, a lot of times this card is implying this very much overly dramatic situation. This is a card that is, think about. When I think of this card, I think about this as it's being a play, right? It's a play where he's been stabbed all of these, he's lying on stage and you are the audience watching him, right? And you are also him. Like, he's wallowing in the fact that he has fallen. And so all of these swords are kind of implying within your life that it's like, maybe it's not quite as bad as you feel, and I know that you feel this, right? And it's so important for us to give ourselves space and time and energy to feel our feelings very, very deeply. It's so important to feel your feelings in all respects. But what's interesting about this card is that once you feel that, right, you give yourself the time to feel this. If you start to look at from the other perspectives on things, you start to see the sun perspective, you'll start to notice that, even these huge giant things, there are some grain of salt aspects there that are not quite as intense as you feel. And so, you're being encouraged to take the King of Swords approach in this to help yourself. It's like, actually set up boundaries with yourself. When you start to see, this is the thing about mindfulness. you know, and the mindful movement, I think is actually what it was. It's the mindful movement is the name of that group on YouTube. Their channel's great. But mindfulness is this practice of starting to see your thoughts, right? So it's like starting to see when you are wallowing in something difficult, you know, and then start to pull yourself out of it, you know, or start to understand when you are in that feeling of like, oh my God, nothing's working. Oh my God, everything's terrible. Oh my gosh, you know, and then you start to go into that shame spiral down and down and down. It's to start giving yourself a little bit of distance from that, you know, with the King of Swords. Like, okay, I feel my emotions, right? The King of Swords feels his emotions very, very, very deeply. The thing is, he doesn't actually dictate his actions off of his emotions. He gives himself time and space to feel everything that he needs to feel. He gives himself deep, deep, deep time to do all of that. But then he moves himself on from that, right? It's like he doesn't make any of his actions based on that. He has a very clear head. The swords are all about the air signs, so they're all about this very analytical. So he gives himself the time and the space to feel his emotions on his own, and then he gives himself a clearer perspective afterward. He says, "Okay, I felt all of that. Great. This is how I'm feeling now. Now that I've felt all of that, let me come back into a sense of calm." You know, it's always coming back to yourself, right? And that's where meditation can help. That's where mindfulness can help. It's starting to see the thoughts, not identify with them. You know, we have thoughts that go everywhere. We are not our thoughts. That's the biggest, most important lesson you can have in this is understanding that you are the awareness that lies behind the thoughts. Your thoughts are dictated by what you feed your mind. And so it can be the people that you hang around, all of that. You know, maybe this is about with the King of Swords, you know, he puts up heavy boundaries with the external world and with the internal world. You know, he says, okay, you know, I cannot let myself go there as much anymore, you know, to the deepest, darkest parts of myself. Like, it's important to see them, it's important to feel them, to feel your feelings when you need them, and then to move on from them. To not let them control every aspect of your life. And it's important to make sure that you are very mindful of the people that you hold company with. You know, do all of these people reflect your highest ideals in life? It's not a horrible thing to walk away from relationships that don't serve you. In fact, it's incredibly helpful to do that. As hard as that is, you know, especially though if they are, you know, acquaintances, people that don't really mean very much to you. I mean, for a long period of my life, this is just for me, you know, I was trying to get people to, you know, accept me who didn't care about me one way or the other. And after a while, I had to understand, like, why do I care about these people? You know, like, they don't care about me. They don't. And in fact, we hold very different value systems. And I shouldn't have to change my highest ideals to match and gel with all of these really negative people who don't care about me anyway, you know? So maybe you have some of that going on. Maybe this is an internal thing, you know? I know this is our internal conflict. So with that King of Swords, it's like, you know, am I trying to change my perspective on the world to match a worldview that actually doesn't work for me? You know, what's the worldview that works for me? And, you know, if I want to be the sun energy, like, maybe that means I cannot set my mind up the way that other people do. And you know what? That's fine. What's going to be the way to set my mind up that works for me? You know, you have control over that. You can find the things that make you happy, and you can find that. So, I'm going to do one more triptych of advice for your internal conflict. And we'll just lay it there because I like doing these. I'm thinking we're going to make this like a 20-minute video. So let's just do 3 more cards from the Smith-Waite deck. And we'll leave it at that. Great. Yeah, okay. So this is sort of final. Yeah, okay. Final thoughts. You know, first off, you have the Temperance card, which is all about creating something out of seemingly opposite forces. And a lot of times I relate it to that old adage of when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. that's really what you're being encouraged to do in this situation, is like, not everything, remember with that 5 of Cups, not everything that's seemingly awful, is actually as bad as it seems. And in fact, sometimes the universe is throwing us challenges to help us grow. And sometimes it's throwing us those challenges to give us lessons to learn from. And sometimes, they're actually opportunities in disguise. So ask yourself, are these, whenever a challenging situation occurs for you, you're being encouraged to take this new perspective with the Page of Cups. It's learning things from a new perspective, jumping into this new way of looking at the world, a new mindset, because swords are all about the mind. The pages are new students in that suit, so it's like learning how to look at the world from this new perspective of, well, what is this way to look at things? What is this new way to see things? Where instead, with this life giving you lemons thing, okay, if life is throwing me this lemon, instead of just using it to disempower myself, to say, oh, I'm not able to make anything happen, the universe only gives me terrible things, instead of that, be like, okay, what is the universe trying to show me with this situation, and what can I learn about myself, to not be in this anymore? What about my own internal patterning is showing me why I am creating this in my life? A lot of times the internal and external are reflections of one another in our lives. And so sometimes, our thoughts bring on certain situations. And sometimes, the way we grew up, the way we've learned how to deal with the world, what we've learned from our parental situations, all of these things are why, why our external world are reflecting that, right? So it's like, okay, what about the way that I view relationship dynamics and the way that I view my own self is attracting this certain kind of person into my life, or this certain kind of situation into my life? And how can I make changes to myself, and changes to the way I see the world, changes to the way I see myself, changes to the way I think in general, that, Page of Swords there, how can I make changes to this to change my situation? And the more that you start to do that, the more you're going to be really victorious over this, because you have the 9 of Wands here, which is, overcoming challenges. He is the battle-hardened soldier, so he's ultimately victorious. I identify this card with victory. It's not the only victory card. The 6 of Wands is more clear-cut, like victorious victory, but I feel that the 9 of Swords, he's actually incredibly victorious, because he's undergone all of these battles and challenges, but he has come out on the other end of it every single time. And he's now this very strong person. So, you might go through difficult situations here as you're learning how to do these new thoughts, but you're ultimately going to be victorious. And it's ultimately going to build you up into this deeply, deeply strong person. So view every challenging situation that comes into your life, and this is hard to do, but once you can start to do this, it's really, really helpful. Every challenging situation that comes into your life is an opportunity to strengthen yourself, to learn, who you are, to learn what you do like and what you don't like. And then, remember with that King of Swords here, it's like any situation that comes into your life that you're really not comfortable with, that's okay. This is your life. This is your opportunity to change your situation to whatever you want. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Your internal conflict was sort of this idea that you're disempowering yourself based on your own thoughts, right? Anytime a challenging situation might come into your life, you use it as an excuse. And remember, it could be to any extreme. So take it or leave it. You might be using that as an excuse to say, oh, you know what? I'm a weak person. I can't deal with the life. Universe is too hard. Everything's just too hard. And I am just too weak. You use it as a disempowering every time a challenge comes into your life. The way to change that is to flip it. every time a challenging situation comes into your life, it's an opportunity for you to learn about yourself and to strengthen yourself. And you know what? You're alive right now. So, that alone is proof that even though challenging situations might come into your life, even though difficult things happen to you, you've been able to survive every one of them. So start to use that as each challenging situation is an excuse to empower yourself instead of disempower yourself. So we're going to do one final card. This is an oracle card from the How to Be a Wildflower deck. And it's got a symbol on one side and it's got a quote on the other, and you get two. All right, first one is the robin's egg. So, I feel like this is sort of, that new beginning energy. It's a springtime. Robins to me are all about spring. They're all about new starts. Robin is the symbol of a new start. So you are gestating into a new beginning for yourself here with this robin's egg. So it's like you're gestating into this new way of seeing the world. So it might take some time to grow into this, right? So be really gentle with yourself as you move through this process, but you have full ability to do this. And the quote on the back is, hope is a waking dream, from Aristotle. So it's like, you are, you're waking up into this new way of seeing the world, this new perspective on yourself, and you're being encouraged to take that perspective on this. And then your next card is this lantern, which is shining a light in the darkness. So use the lantern. And sometimes too, I view the lantern as a hermit symbolism, the hermit in the tarot. So you might need to go off on your own for a minute and see what yourself is, really take a look at the thoughts in your head and say, okay, well, how much of this is coming from me? And how much of this is coming from my environment? How much of this is coming from the people around me? How much of what I'm thinking is based on what I learned as a child or the group of people I surround myself with? So take that as a light of inspiration for yourself. And the quote that we have is, "You shall see wonders," from William Shakespeare. So the more that you do this work, the more that you will feel more proud of yourself for really taking the chance of changing your mind and changing your perspective, because you have the ability to do that. So anyway, pile number one, that was my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think of it either way. I really love hearing from everybody. And if you would like a private reading with me, I can get way more in depth about you and your life and your situation. I view tarot as a tool for spiritual healing. So if you need help with your own spiritual healing, I can help you get to the root of that. Check out my website at junodrone.com, and I've got all my rates on there. I've got different readings available. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really does help tremendously. So yeah, help me out there, and like and subscribe and comment. Yeah, anyway, friends, I will see you later. Thanks for tuning in with me this week, and I hope you have a great week. Catch you later. Hi, pile number two. Welcome to your reading. You chose the pile with this Waite, Universal Waite deck. So for this week, we're going to be doing what is your internal conflict? So getting an understanding of what your internal conflict is, getting some solutions, and getting some final thoughts. Not everyone is always having an internal conflict. So, we'll leave these readings to be open, but I feel like if you clicked on this, you're going to get a message that you need. So let us do the first three cards. So what is pile number two's internal conflict? 3, 4 cards. So we're going to give you 2, 2, and 2, right? Yeah, we are. Pile number 2 had 2 last week, so we'll keep that going, I think. Interesting. So your internal conflict is coming from, it's actually kind of an external conflict, which is kind of interesting. You've got the Tower and you've got the the Wheel of Fortune. So, I actually always look at the Wheel of Fortune to be fortunate. Sometimes people can relate it to being ups and downs and swings. In your particular situation, I'm feeling a little bit of that ups and downs, but I do think it's sort of like, like I said, this is what your internal conflict is coming from, but I'm feeling external situations here as well. So it's like, there's a lot of this balancing energy, which happens with pile number 2. It happened last week when I did this reading, so I feel like it's kind of similar. We've got this balance thing going on. Our internal states reflect our external states, and our external states reflect our internal states. It's a bit of both. And so, with the Tower card, the Tower tends to be this sort of external situation that comes in and changes everything. So all of a sudden, you've got this big, giant, crazy change, and everything is different. And a lot of times that can be scary. It can come with a lot of challenges. It can come with difficult situations. So I'm not really sure exactly what's going on for you and your personal situation, but I am feeling that sort of something has happened in your life that has kind of thrown you through a loop. You're in a bit of a Tower moment, and ultimately it might seem like a bad thing. I'm seeing lots of birds fly around, so I'm getting some confirmation from this. It might seem like a challenging thing, but the ultimate outcome is a very positive outcome here. So this change was needed to come into your life in order to give you a clean slate. So you can rebuild from a new place, a new perspective, in order to build something stronger. So, if this isn't resonating with you, obviously feel free to pick a different pile. Not every message is always for everyone, but this is a general reading. I do feel like for my pile number 2s, though, this reading is talking about having this big giant change come into your life, and because this is what is your internal conflict, I think that maybe if you're going through something difficult external to your situation, this might be actually an opportunity for you to rebuild the internal environment within you, right? Because the internal and the external really do reflect one another. So I'm getting that image. The positive outcome from this is going to come from you allowing your perspective to change, allowing yourself to adapt to this new situation, and it really being in something new. If everything in your life is changing, give yourself the opportunity to be different. Give yourself the opportunity to see things differently, to work differently. So let's look at these other 2 cards that came out with those. I feel like this is the choice kind of thing that you've got going. It's a balancing card, and the 6 of Pentacles really does talk about balancing sometimes. You can see there's a scale on it. A lot of times the 6 of Pentacles can be asking for help, and it can be receiving help. And it can be giving help, right? It's all of those things, giving and receiving, this sort of internal, external balancing situation going on. With the Devil card here, the Devil represents everything in life that holds us back. It can be negative thoughts, it can be addictive tendencies, it can be a lot of things. And so I feel like for you, with this balance card here, these 2 cards are coming in to let you know, like, this Tower moment, whatever this change is, it's coming in to give you a new perspective on your life and on your situation, to rebuild a new balance for yourself, right? Rebuild a give and a take that works for you better than what may have been in place before. And that Tower moment may have happened in the past, it may be happening currently, it may be just about to be here. It's going to be different for everybody's situation. You'll kind of get an idea of what your situation is for you here. But I feel like with the Devil here, it's really kind of giving you a sense of like, there really was something and is something about your internal state, the way that you think about things, that is unbalanced. Something that is like not exactly working out for you. This is sort of a similar message from pile number 1. Pile number 1 got the Devil as well, which is interesting. But this internal conflict, it's caused you to be stuck, I think, to be stuck in overgiving mode or overtaking, one of those things. And so, coming from, giving all of your power away to addictions or, negative ways of looking at the world, or, a cycle that just wasn't really working for you. The Tower is coming in to give you a new way of looking at things here with this Six of Pentacles that's going to change things for you. And also, I think you're being encouraged to ask for help for situations too. So if you are in any kind of addictive pattern, there is help out there that you can ask for. You can come to readers like me. I do private readings. You can find them on my website. You could actually go to an actual counselor, someone who's licensed to help people, because they can be incredibly helpful for these kinds of situations. Any kind of situation where you feel like you are powerless to behavior that's within you, remember that you aren't ultimately, that you have the ability to come to a better understanding of yourself, and that a balance can be achieved for you. You can come and regain a balance that will work better for your life. It's just a matter of finding what that is for you. Let's pull some more cards. So another 2 cards, please. Okay, that one wanted to come out. One more. Okay, well, that's way too many cards. Okay. 2, 2, and 1. So we'll do the 1 first. I feel like this might be ultimate outcome. Yeah, balance, justice again. The justice card is all about balance. So coming into, an understanding that, the external world and the internal world really do reflect one another. What you're experiencing in life could be due to internal patternings. The way that you think about the world really shapes how your world looks. As crazy as that sounds, it's true. If you believe something to be true, that's what you're going to see more than anything else. And so, with the Justice card coming in here, it's really all about that idea of learning to see the world in a new way in order to open yourself to a new way of perceiving, of living, of experiencing. These 2 cards, we've got the Emperor and we've got the 4 of Cups. So, I do feel like the way out of this, for some possible solutions here for your situation is to remember, that, perspective is key here. With the 4 of Cups, it's like you're so focused on these 4 cups that are in front of you that you don't even see that the universe is trying to give you a gift behind you. So maybe whatever this Tower moment is for you, whatever this external situation that is coming in and changing everything, maybe there's some gift into it, and it's going to give you the opportunity here with the Emperor to really take a look at your whole life in a way that maybe you weren't before. Really taking control of your life, not giving away your power to, with the Devil card, it's like what we're enslaved by, and that doesn't have to be as crazy and intense as it sounds. It can be really simple, of sort of like, well, what are you giving your power to? Like, what are you feeling like you have no control over in your life? Actually, you have ultimate control in your life. And so it's sort of like, instead of paying attention to all of these things that aren't working for you, there's actually something that's going right that the universe is trying to give you. And so with the Emperor card, it's like learning how to be the emperor of your own kingdom, learning to really cut out things that are not working for you, really learn to embrace the things that work for you the best, and being comfortable with all of that. Now, these final 2 cards, these are the 2 different perspectives on life that you can choose here. You can be really overburdened with that 10 of Wands here. It's the overburden card. It kind of comes in with the idea of, there are multiple things in life that are, that you feel are controlling you. There are multiple situations, multiple perspectives, multiple things that are really weighing you down, and, things you feel like you have to do, things you feel required to do in life. What's interesting about this card, you can see there's like a little tiny village in back that he's walking all of these wands over to, and the idea is that the village has asked him to bring all of these wands back, and he feels obligated to do so. But in reality, there's probably 9 other people living in this village who could help him. And in fact, you have that asking for help card here. Before, that's what this is all about. It's like he could go and put these wands down and say, hey, look, I physically cannot carry all of these anymore. And I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to, appear weak or anything, but look, I just can't do it. Is there anybody who can help me? And you would be surprised. There's probably 9 people in that village who would be like, oh yeah, of course I can help you. Let me come and help you. And then, then they can carry them all back together. But instead, he's just got it in his mind that he really has to carry all of these wands for everybody else, when maybe in reality, one of those wands is meant for him, and he could put down all of that and just be in his own self and carry one wand, right? And in actuality, he thinks that the external world, that the village is forcing him to carry all of these out of whatever situation. And so maybe he's actually really resentful of everyone in that village, but he's not going to say anything because he just feels like it's his obligation to do this. But in reality, like, maybe the village isn't forcing him to do it. It's just he believes that that's the case. And in fact, if he were to go and talk to the village, he would be surprised to see how many people don't feel that way, and in fact would be like, oh, of course I can help you. All you had to do was ask. But he just never thought to ask, right? And so that's kind of where this 9 of Cups comes in. I relate the 9 of Cups personally to almost a self-love energy. Being in this position where, he's achieved these 9 cups and he's kind of sitting in his own trophy room and is really comfortable and proud of himself. Sometimes I've heard readers relate that to being kind of smug. He's got a bit of a smug, drawn face on him, but I don't really feel that way with this card personally. I think it's better, it's important to view your achievements in a positive light, not in a way that's like, super, oh, I'm the best and I'm better than everybody, but instead like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of myself for having done all of this, And so he's very content on being on his own. You can see he's drawn alone here, but he's really happy being on his own because he knows that, he's able to make things happen for himself, and he's achieved a lot, and he's really happy at his achievements, and he's willing to celebrate himself for that. He celebrates his achievements and he's okay and content with that action. And so it's like you're being encouraged to do that for yourself here. Celebrate the things that work for you. You can put down these wands that aren't working and be on your own for a bit and celebrate that. And even if some people, in that village are going to be angry with you, what would you rather do? Live a life that you hate, making a few people, not angry at you, not even necessarily happy at you, because a lot of times those kinds of people, it's never enough with those kinds of people. The people who just want you to do and do and do for them, like they're going to have something else for you to carry in 2 minutes, so they're never going to be satisfied with you. And you're never going to feel satisfied with you either, because you're going to be stuck in this, oh my gosh, I'm doing everything for everyone energy with that 10 of Wands. So it's like, you might as well try to find a way to make you happy, because at the end of the day, you're not living everybody else's life. You're only living your own. So, it's worth putting down a lot of these burdens that aren't working. And with that Tower card at the beginning there, I feel like the universe is going to pull those out of your hands anyway. And so it's like you might as well learn to go with the flow and let go, and just kind of ride it out and see where it's taking you, a kind of surrender energy. So now we're going to pull a card from this deck to give you final symbols to end this reading with, and then I'll leave you there. I've been kind of liking these quick readings. Let me know if you want me to go back to more in-depth readings too. I love doing those too. It's nice for me to just kind of switch things up every now and then, so that's kind of what I'm doing. So this has double meanings. There's a symbol and a quote. So the symbol is the roses, right? We have those as a symbol of love. In our culture, in Western civilization, roses tend to be a symbol of love, but they have thorns as well. So it's like, first there's a positive and negative to any situation. Every rose has its thorn, but they're beautiful, beautiful flowers nonetheless. But also, I connect this to self-love, right? By doing things for your own self-love, there might be some people that aren't happy with you, but if people aren't happy with you when you take care of yourself, that should be a good indication of maybe those aren't the best people for you, Like if somebody's going to get really mad at you for doing what you need to do to be safe and to be whole and to be comfortable, maybe they aren't the best person for you. And now there's a quote on the back as well that I'll read, and it says, "It will never rain roses. When we want to have more roses, we must plant more roses." And that's a George Eliot quote. I'll let you read that. That's beautiful. I take that to mean like, also too, if you want something beautiful to occur in your life, sometimes you got to sit down and make it happen, right? That Nine of Cups, like, he's very content in celebrating all of his achievements, but in order to get those achievements, he had to work really hard. He had to plant all of those rose bushes himself, and then he can cultivate them, right? You have to cultivate them into your life, right? Like, your life is your own garden, and if you're not the gardener of your garden, you're not going to get the results that you want. So really, really keep that in mind. And then that also runs the other way. If you have a life where you feel like nothing is working out for you, and you've got all these like horrible things happening in your life, sometimes things are completely out of our control, and I don't want you to think otherwise, but we do have some control of our lives, and we do have some ability to change our perspective, and we do have some ability to feel gratitude and to see the things that are working for us. And so we have control over certain aspects of our life. And by taking control of those aspects, we begin to see just what we can do for ourselves. And so it's like, if you want a beautiful life, you have to plant the seeds to make it happen. And you have full power and control to make that happen. So anyway, pile number 2, I'm going to leave it there. I hope that you liked that reading. Please let me know in the comments what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody. I'm going to leave it there. If you would like a private reading with me, like I said, I can get way more in depth about your situation. I can answer any specific questions you have, anything like that. We can get really deep. So you can find my rates on my website, junodrum.com. Please subscribe to the channel. It really does help. We're getting closer to 1,000. When we get there, like I said, I'm going to be doing some fun giveaways. So check that out. And feel free to like this as well. I do think that the more people who like the video, the more people get to see the video. So, it is helpful. I will catch you later. See you later, pile number 2. Hi friends, welcome to your reading. So this is going to be, what is your internal conflict? You chose this pile number 3. And for that, we have the 1JJ Swiss deck today. So we're going to be opening this up to general understandings of what your internal conflict might be and how you can work on it, adjust it, move through it. We'll just open it up to 3 cards from the deck, and we'll start to see 1, 2, one more card. That's too many. Well, okay, we're doing 2 and 2 then. That's what we did for pile number 2, so we'll do that for you too. So the first 2 cards. We've got the Page of Wands and the 7 of Cups. Okay, so I'm feeling some indecisive energy here. Now, the last time I said that on a reading, I got a comment from somebody who was really angry at me. Telling me they've never been indecisive in their entire life. So, if this is not resonating with you, I just want to let you know that that's fine. What's really important to remember with tarot readings is that sometimes they don't resonate when you click on a pile, and that's okay. That just means that, it wasn't for you. Maybe you didn't quite meditate in a way that you found the right one. Whatever, it's fine. Sometimes that happens. It happens to me all the time with pick a cards. So it's like, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and so I'm going to keep going with the reading now, but it was a little triggering for me to have that happen. But that's okay. The 7 of Cups is all about sort of having a lot of options. You can talk about, many different things. A lot of times it's depicted as a person who is, looking into the clouds and seeing all 7 cups, and they're filled with different things. And so it can talk about having a lot of choices moving forward, and it can talk about sort of sometimes not being able to choose between those. And so I think what your internal conflict is coming from is having difficulty in choosing the pathway forward for you. I think maybe you have a lot of different ideas. I think that maybe you have a lot of inspired understandings of things. I think that maybe you have a lot of directions you could flow in. I feel like maybe you're a creative person with this Page of Wands card. The pages are all about your inspiration, your fire, your drive, what lights you up, the things in life that really inspire you to move forward. And so with it being the page, it's talking about a new beginning in that. The pages are people who are at the beginning stages. They're first starting out. They're just walking down the path on this journey and kind of exploring what that might mean for them. And so I feel a little bit of that energy for you, pile number 3, where I think that maybe you have a lot of options in your mind. You have a lot of different inspired ideas that are coming from spirit. Our creativity comes directly from the universe, I feel like, and it's a communication with the universe. And so, I feel like you're a very creative, a very inspired, very intuitive person. And because of that, you have all of these wonderful, beautiful ideas on how to move forward in life. And so, I feel like your internal conflict at the moment is coming from not knowing which one to choose, and almost feeling like, oh my gosh, how could I choose just one of them? And, sometimes it's having faith in yourself to make the choice to follow your heart and find what's right. So let's look at the other 2 cards. I think it's going to talk about that directly, because I kind of saw what these were. But, we've got, the Lovers, and we've got the Magician. So, that's kind of giving you a little bit of solutions for this internal conflict here. With the Magician, that's really coming in to let you know that, like, you have all the power here. You hold all the cards in your life. So what that means is that, at the end of the day, you have control over your life. And, I do think that there's a little bit of surrender that needs to happen for this process. Maybe you're feeling a little bit too controlling, and that's where, that indecisive energy is coming in. But it's sort of, the Magician's coming in to let you know that, like, there is no wrong choice here, right? First of all, it's important to remember that if you're trying to deliberate over moving in a certain direction and you're not entirely sure which way to go, it's important to remember that there really are no wrong choices in life, right? That every direction you could possibly move in, it has a potential to give you a lesson. It has a potential to give you an outcome that's favorable. And even if it doesn't lead to, ultimate abundance, ultimate happiness, ultimate whatever, it's still going to bring you further down your journey to understanding where you need to move next. So, I'm feeling like the first thing to move forward is to have faith in yourself that whatever decision you make, it's going to be okay. It's going to be the right one. There is no wrong choice. But the second card comes in here with the Lovers, which I feel like that's a message to follow your heart in this situation, that in order to move forward in the best way forward for you, it's going to take an approach where you come right into your own heart center in order to get some clarity. And, the best way to do that, there's many different ways. There's some great heart meditations out there that can be really helpful. Check down in the description. I'm going to link, for another video, I was linking a different group, but I'm going to link, there's this great meditation from this pick a card reader on YouTube named Cheryl Lee Harnish, but she did this like really great heart breathing meditation that I do a lot when I want to get in touch with my own heart center and my heart space, and I find it really, really helpful. So the idea with that is that, you start to breathe in through your heart and really connect into your heart space and your heart center. And what that will do is, you quiet the mind. The mind has like 3 million things going all the time, and it's just this zoom, 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 and so it's really easy to get lost in the maze of your own mind. And your heart, though, on the other hand, it has a clearer grasp of, connecting into your higher self, connecting into, your own intuitive nudgings, connecting into the things that you really want for yourself, right? Your heart knows more than your mind a lot of the time. Your mind can deliberate on everything and say, well, that looks good, but this also looks good, and that looks great, but also this. And so, you're really being called to take a different approach in this. It's sort of like, well, first of all, it's important to remember that you have time, regardless of your age, regardless of your situation, you have time to do probably a lot of the things that are on the 7 of Cups list, So maybe you got to make a bucket list, which is fine. And then it'll just be on a list. And so then you have your list of projects and list of things. And then you can tackle them one by one, and you connect into your heart center to say, okay, well, what am I going to do right now? Because, we live in the present moment. We don't live in the future. The future doesn't exist. It's just here, right now. And so when you tune back into your own sense of now, you'll be able to get a better handle on what this particular moment is calling you to do. And so maybe there's a few projects you could juggle, or maybe you have to do one at a time. And you will figure out which project is right for you in which moment, based on your own self, right? Yourself, you will figure out kind of the best way to move forward, because your heart, will be calling you in a certain direction. So I'm going to pull 2 more cards to get some further advice here, and then we'll do some oracle cards, and I'll leave you on your way, because these have kind of been short and sweet readings. Perfect too. And I like that. So you've got the Ace of Wands and the 2 of Wands. That's kind of cool. So you've got 1, 2 here, which is great. And the Magician is a 1. You've got a 4 with the Lovers. The Page isn't really a number. I guess they're 11. And then you have a 7. So I don't know, numbers, numerology, that might mean for you, but you got this 1, 2 here, which is cool. I think that's cool. So, you really are at this new beginning for your passions and your dreams and your desires. So when you really connect into what your passions are calling for you with this Ace of Wands, and you really get a handle on what project, what thing, what inspired action is going to be the best for you in this particular moment. When you really tune into that here with the Ace of Wands, you'll start to get a better handle and picture on how to move forward, and that's going to put you in the position to start planning for that future. With the 2 of Wands, the 2 of Wands can be this sort of like dreaming of the future, journeying within too. It can be about inward journeying, and it can be about actual travel as well. So, maybe you need to switch up your location to get a better understanding of what you want to do, even if it's just like going camping for the weekend, or, getting out of town, going for a walk in the park, something like that. But I do feel like there's this inward journey that you need to take as well. As you do maybe some kind of heart meditation, like I was talking about, you might get a better understanding of, this inward journey, and you'll start to get a better picture of what your heart is calling you to do. And then you'll be able to take this step here and move in that direction. And then sometimes too, the 2 of Wands can be about planning for the future as well. So once you tune into that, you'll be able to start building and planning for the best way to move forward for you. And you'll start to feel what that is for yourself. Yeah, pile number 3. I'm going to leave it there for the tarot cards. Maybe we'll just pull 1 more tarot. What are we going to leave it? We'll get 1 more card to just give you an ultimate outcome here. Oh, your ultimate outcome is great. So, you've got, for your ultimate outcome, you've got the 10 of Cups, which is ultimate happiness. So whatever choice you make, as you tune into your heart center, as you tune into, what's best for you, you are following the path towards ultimate happiness here. And in fact, that can be a great way for you to move forward. If you're feeling really stuck here, ask yourself, well, what's going to make me the happiest, right? Like, let's not think about anybody else here. Let's not think about, ifs, ands, buts, whatever. Let's stop thinking about all of that and just bring it right back in. Bring it right back into center, come right back into your heart and say, okay, what do I want? Like, what will make me the happiest? Which project will make me the happiest right now? Not like, ultimate happiness, although this means ultimate happiness, but use that as your gauge. What's going to be the happiest thing for me in this moment? What's going to make me the proudest of myself? What's going to make me the most open to me? You know, what's going to make me feel like I'm flowing in the right direction? And your heart will know, you know in the back of your mind, in the back, you know, when you quiet your mind deep within, you know what that's going to be. And so it's all about journeying within to find that for yourself. But let your happiness be your guide. You know, really ask yourself, what's going to make me happy? And that's going to be important for you. So yeah, anyway, that's your tarot. We're going to pull one oracle card, and I'm going to leave it there, pile number 3. This has been a nice reading. You know, as much as you have an internal conflict, I don't think it's that challenging of one. You know, we've all been in that position. Okay, you got, am I going to do all of these? Yeah, you got a lot of oracle cards. We got time. I did, you know, this is coming out a little bit short, so this is actually really great. So, you know, first up, slow and steady wins the race. You got the turtle here, right? That's great imagery. This is How to Be a Wildflower deck by Katie Daisy, which is just this really beautiful deck where one side is a symbol and the other side is a quote. Very basic, but a lot of times, you know, symbols just target us right down to our subconscious. So, you know, if you see in these images anything as well that really hop out at you, you know, we got a little butterfly here, which is all about transformation. We've got this turtle, we got ferns. Ferns are beautiful, beautiful flowers, or plants, but you know, sometimes they're persnickety. I have a couple of ferns. Some of them are doing really, really well in my house, and some of them are not happy at all, and I think are dying. So, you know, like, you know, be picky with your own life, and it's okay to be picky. You know, choose the thing that's going to make you happy, and slow and steady wins the race here with that turtle. And the quote on the back is a Thich Nhat Hanh quote. And if you don't know anything about Thich Nhat Hanh, he's this incredible Vietnamese Buddhist teacher, and you know, he was one of the civil rights activists, you know, in that 60s era, and he's still around, I think, but he's very old now. But he is, you know, I had a friend who was all about him, so I read a few of his books and stuff with him, and it's good. So anyway, the quote is, smile, breathe, and go slowly, right? So, you know, you don't have to rush this. And I just saw 444 on my screen there. So, you know, that's an angel number, a number for confirmation, and it's beautiful. And it's also going to be foundational numbers. Look up 444 because there might be some messages for you there. But, you know, you can go slow at this. You don't need to choose this second, right? That's what it's like all about. Going, breathe, right? So do some breathing meditation, that heart breathing that I was talking about with Shirley Harnish. Check out the description in this video. I'll have a link to it. And, you know, do that kind of work and really slow down. And then, you know, you'll get a better understanding of how to move forward that way. And it's totally fine for, you know, taking the time that you need, right? So we got that. Next up, we've got the rooster, right? So strut your stuff, right? That's kind of what I feel for the rooster, right? He's like this kind of masculine energy too. So, you know, the divine masculine might actually help you in this situation. Sometimes, you know, we need a good balance of divine feminine and divine masculine. And I feel like if you're a deeply creative person, creativity tends to be more in the divine feminine aspect. We all have masculine and feminine aspects within us. And, you know, the divine feminine tends to be more intuitive, more open, more flowing, going with the flow, which is absolutely great. I mean, you need that for creativity. You absolutely do. But I feel like with the rooster here, they're asking you to get a little bit into your action-oriented side as well. So have these inspired thoughts. You know, I feel like you do. I feel like you have that. You have the feminine down. You have that receptivity down. And so now it's all about tuning into, okay, well, what's the next step for me? Okay, well, where is the not that everything has to be practical at all, right? But like you do have to take steps. You do have to take steps in the physical world to move forward on this. So, you know, tune into that, you know, get organized, start a planner, you know, and also the rooster's about mornings too. The quote's about a morning. I'll read it in a minute, but you know, like get your morning routine down. I don't know what that is for you, but you know, like get up early for work and like do your hot tea and writing. That's what I try to do in the morning, and I've failed. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I'm getting the nudging for myself that this is a message for me, like, yeah, get your morning routine again. Like, that's where you're the happiest. That's when, you're able to, it's all about, like, when you can build these kinds of, like, physical routines, it's like you are building the physical bridge to spirit, which is required to bring in these creative projects into the real world, because you do have to take physical action as well as having the ideas, and that can come in from being organized, keeping your weekly planner, having your goals for the day written down. Like, that kind of work is helpful. It's entirely helpful. And so the quote says here, every morning is a fresh start. And you've got poppy imagery for dreaming dreams. So, following your dreams here, but every morning is a fresh start. So too, if you slip, like, one day, 1 week, don't hold it against you. Just get back up the next morning and say, okay, you know what? This is a new day. I'm in a new day. I'm in a new opportunity. I'm in a new moment, and I can take that moment for whatever it's going to be, and we can start fresh. So don't be afraid to start fresh every single morning. You have that opportunity. Every single moment is a brand new moment. So if you slip, if you fall, you can always get back up again. Always. You've got, the shooting star, right? Aim for the stars, right? Shoot for the stars. Have that big, beautiful, huge vision and hold it in yourself, Don't let, like, practicality get in the way of you choosing your destiny. I feel like you're destined for these big, beautiful things. So really shoot for that, right? Really have your grand vision and ask your guides, your angels, your spirits, whatever, your higher self, your muse, your creative muse. Ask for guidance on, okay, this is this huge vision I have. How can I bring it into light? Help me bring it into the light. Help me shine into the physical world and bring this in, and they will. And, your quote here is, you are magic, and you are. And remember, you have the Magician here. The Magician is an incredible, incredible card, because it's the only one. It's not quite depicted in this deck, but I do like the illustration in this deck. In most decks, it's the only card that has all 4 of the elements, the pentacles, the wands, the swords, and the cups present on it. So it's saying that you have the ability to juggle all of the elements and balance them all together in this alchemy, right? It's like the eternal alchemist, this magic. You're able to alchemize all of those outside forces and bring them together to create something incredible, and that's what creativity is, and that's what art is, and that's what all of these kinds of things are. And remember, you don't have to be like just a painter or something here. You could be trying to build a business, you could be trying to write a book, you could be trying to create anything, any of that kind of thing, music, poetry, opera, right? I don't know what it is for you. Whatever it is for you, you have the ability to bring this into reality. You really, really, really do. So, keep that in mind. You can make anything happen. You have the magic to make it happen. And your final card here, oh, I love it, is this. I haven't seen this one yet. This is a relatively new deck for me, so I'm still finding new cards. But look at that, right? It's a garden. You have to water the plants in order for them to grow. So water your own garden, right? I like this analogy. I've used this before. That we are both the gardener and the garden of our lives. It's kind of the interesting conundrum of being a human being, right? We are not only the gardener in the fact that we tend the garden of our lives, but we're also the garden, right? The things we want to have happen in our lives, the life we want to build for ourselves, we have total ability and control to make that happen. But you can't just force a garden to exist overnight, right? You have to plant the seeds and you have to tend to them, tend to that garden as it grows. And you know, you can't overwater the garden because then you'll drown it, and you can't underwater it. So you have to give it the right attention and give it the right amount of what it needs. But if you do it all right, as that magician card, that magic, that alchemy, if you alchemize it all in the right way, you grow this incredible, beautiful garden for yourself, which is amazing. And the quote on the the quote on the back of the card is from Hafiz, who I don't know that author, but the quote is, "Plant so that your own heart will grow." Oh my gosh, I didn't even read this yet. So there you go. You have that heart as well. Plant so that your own heart will grow. So remember that I started this reading with, you have the Lovers in there. Following your heart is what's so important for you in this. So really tune into your heart space, and your heart knows what it wants. And plant the seeds so that you're growing your own heart's desires out of this. Like, that's what you're trying to build, is your own heart space here. So anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to leave you there. This is a beautiful reading. That was really beautiful. So let me know what you think either way. I love hearing from you in the comments. I really do. If you want if you want more help choosing something, getting more in depth, because this is sort of indecisive energy, I do a really awesome reading with people where, we'll do choices. Like if you can pare it down to 2 or even 3, my private readings on my website, which is linked below here, junodrum.com. I do a really great private reading with people that I love, which is this kind of like either or reading. So I'll give you like, okay, if you chose this one, here's what happens. Here's all the outcomes. We'll get like what you're feeling. And then if you choose that one, we'll get that direction and see what that looks like. And then, I'll never tell you which one to choose, but I'll give you like, well, this is the outcome for this. And this is kind of what we're seeing. And this is the outcome for that. And this is what we're seeing for that. And so now you have all of the information you need to make the choice, and it's much easier. So check out my private readings. I love doing them. I haven't done one in a while. So, if you want one, I would love to do one for you. And yeah, like and subscribe, right? Subscribe to the channel. We are growing fast. It's great. When I reach 1,000 subscribers, we're in the 800s right now. But once we reach 1,000, I'm going to be doing a really great giveaway where I'm going to be giving away some really great prizes. So really check that out. It's going to be fun. I might be giving away some couple things. I've got some obsidian that I bought, that I harvested myself. I found in the ground in a place in Oregon that you're allowed to just go and take some, which is beautiful and amazing. It's part of I can't remember. It's the Bureau of something of land and resources or something like that in the United States, but it's really amazing that you can go and take a bunch of it, because it's everywhere, which is incredible. So I'm going to give away some of that, but then also, do I have a piece? I have a piece right here. This is what it looks like. It's just like beautiful, and I have some colored ones as well. But then I might also I don't know if you know this, but I'm designing my own tarot deck, which is taking time. I'm going to have it for sale eventually, but I might give away some cards from that as well, just as a nice little bonus thank you. So anyway, that'll be at 1,000 subscribers. So subscribe, share with your friends, let everybody know. And yeah, I think that's it. I've got an Instagram too. You can follow me there. Anyway, friends, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you later. Bye. Hi, group number 4. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be the reading for what is your inner conflict. So this is assuming you have an inner conflict, right? If you feel like you don't have one, then, this will still give you some insight for sure. But take it with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to trigger anybody here. So if you do have any issue with the reading, sometimes readings are for you, sometimes they aren't. I'm not going to be too harsh here, but, sometimes just take everything with a grain of salt. It's important. Anyway, you chose the deck with this Wild Unknown Tarot. So we're going to do either 2 or 3 cards at a time, and we'll just pull it out. So first up is just sort of like, what is your internal conflict? And then we'll get a little bit of solutions and try to lead you on your way with a nice understanding of yourself. So we got one card here, two more. Let's do two more. All right. Oh, okay. Definitely that one. And let's say one more card here. Great. Dogs in my hallway. Okay, so three cards. You have the Empress, the Lovers, and the Six of Cups. Six of Cups here. Interesting. Empress, Lovers, and Six of Cups. So this is all about your internal conflict. These are all really positive cards, which is nice. So that's good. But if we're going to try to get an internal conflict out of this, I'd say there's a little bit of an energy about being stuck in the past, potentially, or maybe being stuck in a situation with another person, right? You know, be it with the Lovers here, you know, I'm getting either, you know, then take it for what it resonates, but I feel like maybe you had a difficult relationship in your past, or, you know, it could be family, it could definitely be some kind of family relationship, but difficulty in love in some aspect. So be it familial love, friendship, or actual romantic love, you know, the Six of Cups can talk about happy memories from the past. It can talk about, especially with this one, there's this sort of building deep roots to build a strong foundation. We have two trees as well here, so some tree imagery coming out with the Empress. And the Empress is all about the divine feminine, the feminine aspects. So maybe I'm getting maybe for you the internal conflict, especially with the Lovers there, you know, to say it's a conflict would imply there's some sort of imbalance here. So I feel like with the memories of the past thing going on and the Lovers here in particular, I feel like maybe you have a tendency, or you've been having a tendency lately to kind of be caught up in a past relationship, to be thinking about the other person, to be thinking about maybe needing another person to complete you, kind of an idea. You know, with the divine feminine there, you know, maybe you feel like you need, you know, a divine masculine to complement you or something like that. But I feel like it's at a detriment, you know, like I need to pull some more cards to get this, but just because I'm interpreting these cards as some kind of internal conflict. I feel like maybe, you know, if you are in a current relationship too, and maybe things aren't working, maybe, you know, maybe you're finding yourself stuck thinking about the past. There's definitely some of that, and it could be, like I said, for those of you who this isn't about a relationship, this could be about family and stuff like that. You know, maybe you're really thinking about, you know, oh, things were so much easier for me at this other time in my life. Oh, maybe things were so much better then, and now, you know, now I'm having all of these difficulties. And I'm getting a 444 on the screen for confirmation, so you could look up that number. It's an angel number. But I'm feeling like maybe that's what your conflict is about. But, you know, with the Empress here too, it's kind of like, you know, she can be the power feminist of the deck as well. She really can be. And so it's like, I'm getting this, and of course you can be a male as well in this. It's, you know, we all have divine feminine and divine masculine parts of ourselves. And so this could be about anybody, regardless of how you identify gender-wise, male, female, or other, non-binary or agender, or however you identify. There's still, you know, I'm getting this sense of like, you know, you can be a strong, independent person on your own. And in fact, like, you don't need another person to complete you, you know, like you can be your own self-love here to move you forward. And so let's pull some more cards. So that's kind of what the conflict is. Let's get three cards to kind of gain some solutions to get a better understanding too of what we're talking about. So I need three cards. Please give me three cards. There are three cards. I love it. Oh, the tower. Okay. So we got another tree imagery, but look at that one. That one's being struck by lightning. The Seven of Swords. Okay, okay, interesting. And the Death card. Holy moly! Wow. Okay, okay, pile number 4. This is in some very, very intense imagery. You have both of the power change cards in the deck. There are 2 main change cards in the tarot, the Death and the Tower. It's very rare for me to have them both come out in one reading, so I really feel like there is a cycle that you have been caught up in that the universe is ready to close for you. You're being given the opportunity to move out of a mode of thinking, out of a mode of living and being. And with this Seven of Swords here, you know, it's almost to me that the Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords tend to be the like tricky energy with other people cards. It's like the dramatic situations with other people. And so like the Seven of Swords can be this sort of deceptive energy, but I'm really just feeling for you that maybe you've been caught up in codependent cycles, especially, you know, looking at your first cards, you know, that idea of needing somebody else to complete you, you know, being stuck in maybe the honeymoon phase of a relationship, thinking that that's the best, and then when the relationship falls apart, you know, you're thinking, well, why did it fall apart? It was going so well and all of this, you know. But I feel like, you know, and like I said, take this as a resonance. Like if this doesn't fit, you know, there might be a better reading for you. But I'm just feeling that that's what this reading needs to be about. So I'm going to continue talking about these things. No need to trigger, not trying to trigger you at all. I've been there. I've been in codependent relationships. I understand what that's like. Basically, you know, we look outside of ourselves. We learn to look outside of ourselves based on our societal conditioning, based on the relationships that we have as examples for us from our families, those relationships that we have that surround us growing up. We learn to understand of what we think a relationship is supposed to look like, and then we go out and either consciously or subconsciously try to recreate those relationships in our lives as adults. And so, you know, for you, I think that you've been kind of stuck in this cycle where you felt like you need another person to be a whole person, and that you're looking for your other half, right? And by doing that, you've actually been attracting in people that are not complete people, right? Because, you know, you've been attracting in half a person, you know? So for whatever reason, you've been attracting in a person who is equally as, you know, needing of another person to complete them. And that can lead to really catastrophic results because, you know, neither person is as independent as maybe they need to be, and so, you know, resentment gets built up because of that, and you know, difficult fighting happens because of that. That's where you get just a whole host of problems, because at the end of the day, you know, we have to learn how to be full, complete people on our own, and then we bring in another person who is another full and complete person, and then that's how we have healthy relationships with people, because we're not looking to get everything from one person. We know how to please ourselves. We know how to be comfortable ourselves, and then that other person comes and joins us in that, you know, and then there's that dynamic relationship. So I think with both of these huge endings, I think maybe you're ready to move on from that, right? But I feel like maybe that's kind of where you're getting a little bit stuck in right now is, you know, realizing that like the kind of pattern, you know, it's like a cycle, you know, that maybe you've been through a string of difficult relationships that didn't work out. And so, you know, that pattern has repeated itself over and over again, and maybe now you're finally ready to look at that. You know, with the Tower card, it's like the conditions for which you were setting to have those happen continuously, and I just got some horns from outside, so that's a confirmation for this. You know, that pattern. You're ready to look at that pattern and start a new chapter in your life with the Death card. The Death card is all about like starting new phases, being completely done with an entire section of your life and moving on. So now maybe you're ready to look at yourself on the inside and kind of go off it alone. Sometimes the Seven of Swords can be about, you know, holding your cards close and going off on your own for a while. So let's pull some more. I want to pull 3 more cards, another triptych for you. I need more. I just need more to go on here, to give you some more advice. That's too many cards. That's too many cards. That's too many cards. I'm gonna take this one, and then we'll get 2 more. 2 more cards. That one works. 1 more card. 1 more card. Thank you. Okay, so these 3 cards, I don't think they're going to be your final 3 cards. I think I'd like to pull 1 more triptych after this as well, but just to get some better understanding. Yeah, okay, Devil energy for sure. But then you have the Sun, and you have the Page, or the Son of Cups, which is the Knight of Cups in most decks. So, you know, the Devil came out in reverse. So I don't usually read reversals, but I think I'm going to, right? I think you're ready to release this Devil energy. The Devil tends to represent, in the tarot, it represents all of the things in life that hold us back, right? It represents, and a lot of times it's us, right? We are our own devil. Like the devil is a symbol. It's a representation of the thoughts that get us stuck. It's the patterns in our life that keep us down. It's what's tied to. A lot of times it's depicted as 2 people who are chained to the devil. And so it's like, what are we chaining ourselves to? Because ultimately, we always have ultimate freedom to walk away from any pattern within ourselves, any cycle within ourselves, any situation within ourselves, anything that's not really working. We have the ability to walk away from that at pretty much any moment. It's just a matter of learning how to see things from a new perspective and learning how to have boundaries with ourselves, with other people, you know, having boundaries against your own behavior that's not working out for you. So for your context, I feel like it's like, you're ready to learn how to see relationships from a completely new perspective. And by doing that, you know, that's where this movement is coming in. To me, I tend to use the Knights. I feel like they represent in readings for me the movement that's happening within the reading. So it's all about like where that energy is moving, where it's coming from and where it's going. And so for you to have the Knight be in the Cups, it's saying that this reading is showing you a change in your emotions. The Cups are all about your emotions, your emotional state, happiness, the pursuit of happiness within yourself. So I think you're ready to find, you know, the happiness that you need, you know, where you maybe have been looking externally for that happiness from other people. I think maybe you're ready now to look within and to really ask yourself, okay, well, what makes me happy? And by doing so, you know, you have the Sun energy coming in here. So it's like you're ready to embrace this sunshine energy that wants to come into your life. You know, it's the new day, this new beginning, this new period. It's going to be pursuing happiness for yourself and learning what happiness means for you. You know, not needing to maybe be in a situation where your happiness comes from making other people happy, right? It's like, no. What makes you happy for you? Like, not with any other person involved, but just with you for yourself, and learning how to see that for yourself, learning how to work on that within yourself and use that to be your guiding principle moving forward. So let's pull a final 3 cards, and then we will do your oracle cards and we'll leave it there. So final 3 pieces of advice for pile number 4. Okay, that's 2 cards. I need 1 more card. Pile number 4. 1 card. Yeah, it was this one. Okay. 8 of Wands, which is normally depicted as a person who is, no, where's the Eight of Wands? Well, this is what it looks like here. So I'm just going to read it off of this one. Like, look at that energy, right? You've got this lightning bolt coming in. So it's like, I feel like you have inspiration coming to you. It's like this aha moment, you know? You're getting an aha moment here, which is like shining in with this, whoa, transformation of understanding. So it's like a new shining light is coming in to give you a new way to look at things. Yeah. And with the Chariot here too, you got two horse imageries as well. So horses are big for you. For animal symbolism, I would look up horse symbolism online. There's a lot of extra messages you might find that way. There's sites that talk about like the symbolic meaning of, look for the symbolic meaning of horses because they've just come up a lot. But and the knights are usually depicted as being with horses as well. But you know, look at this here. You know, you've got the Chariot card, which is like this alignment of stars as well. There's a star, a moon, and a star all kind of aligned on this card. So, you know, the stars are aligning for you to move you in a new direction, with the Chariot like speeding into a new mode of understanding. So you've got that coming to you here. But then, you know, the final card that we're going to leave you with is the Five of Cups, which is actually, surprisingly enough, one of my favorite cards in the deck, because especially as it's drawn in other decks, it has this built-in transformational element to it that I find really poignant and really beautiful. But it's this whole idea that as you can see, there's 5 cups here. It's normally depicted as 3 cups that are standing upright, and a person who is, or as 3 cups that have fallen over, and a person who is mourning those cups. And standing behind him are 2 cups that are still upright. And so it talks about this idea that, yes, difficult things happen in life, and we have to grieve those things, right? When we lose things, feeling our feelings, feeling the full depth and breadth of our emotions is so incredibly important. And like, you need to experience grief in order to move on and to be whole again in a situation that's difficult. But after a certain point of time, there's this kind of perspective shift that's helpful to move forward in life. You know, you can continue to wallow over the cups that have not worked out for you, that have fallen over. But remember, there are still 2 cups that are upright standing behind you. And so it's like those 2 cups that are remaining are actually the hints on how to move forward with your life, how to rebuild your life, because you still have 2 things left. You haven't lost everything. You still have things left over. And with those things left over, that gives you the new direction on how to move forward in your life, and actually teaches you some lessons on what to cherish and that there are still things for you. And so it's like, it's up to you to choose, like you have to be the one to choose to see those cups. So as you move forward from whatever your situation is, as you learn to see things from a new perspective, as you learn to follow your own happiness above the happiness of others, you know, it's all about what your perspective is. You know, do you share self-love with yourself? You know, do you hold the light of self-compassion for you? Because if you don't hold that light for yourself, I'm not going to say nobody else is going to, but you're never going to feel satisfied with it coming from an external source if you don't know how to share it with yourself. Because ultimately, you know, you are your own connection to source. You can't find it outside of yourself. It has to come from within. And so it's all about learning how to see that. So those are it for the tarot cards. I'm going to pull an oracle card now from this great new deck I bought. It's called How to Be a Wildflower deck. And we're going to leave you at that. I hope that this is enough for you. It's a bit of a heavy reading, but I'm only leaving it at 20 minutes because that's kind of, I'm trying to get these concise readings in. So remember too, if you ever want a more detailed reading, I can get way more in depth with you about your life and your situation on a private reading. You can find those on my website at junodrome.com. I'll link to it at the end of this video, I think. But we've got one final oracle card for you. I like this deck because it has both a symbol on one side and a quote on the other. So the symbol we have is the cardinal, which is very beautiful. I'm just drawn to this winter imagery. Cardinals come out in winter, and they're this like brilliant, shining red light in the middle of winter. So it's like I'm getting this idea of a light shining in the darkness, or like, in a barren, cold winter when everything seems dark and that there doesn't seem any way forward for you. All of a sudden, you see this brilliant, shining crimson red cardinal showing you color and light in the middle of a dark winter. And I feel like that's what's coming for you. I feel like that's what it is. But with that Five of Cups, remember, it's like you have to learn how to see the cardinal for what it is, right? You might feel like you're stuck in a difficult winter, and you might be, you might feel like your present doesn't have anything to offer you, and you're just stuck thinking about beautiful times from your past. But remember, the past doesn't exist anymore. It isn't here. What's here is the right here and right now. And in fact, we have the ability in every moment to rebuild our entire existence in the present moment, because each moment is a new opportunity to be something else. So you have this cardinal flying into the winter of the life that you might be feeling like you're in right now, bringing you this like very beautiful, optimistic hope that there is optimism and hope available to you. Now, let me read the quote. It's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, and it says, "Nature always wears the colors of the spirit," which is beautiful. That's a beautiful, beautiful quote. And to me, that's really saying, like, learn to see the beauty in the world around you, right? And learn to see spirit in the world around you. You don't necessarily have to be a spiritual person, but I will say, speaking from personal experience, from my own dark winter periods of my life, and I have been in very deep, deep, dark, depressive periods, what's really gotten me out of it at the end of the day is to learn to see the spirituality that's all around us all the time. I say spirituality, but it's really just like the insane beauty and awe-inspiring wonder of nature, as Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau and the other, whatever that movement was called, the, I can't remember the name of their movement. The existentialism, right? Were they existentialists? No, they weren't. They were the, just let me know in the comments. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. This is really bad. But anyway, their whole movement was about learning to see the wonder in the natural world around us, and rebuilding. It was this almost like psychedelic movement in the 1860s, of learning to see the spiritual beauty in the world around us, and that's there for you. That's there for you, regardless of how you look at the world, how you interpret it, how you identify. Whether you believe in God or you don't. I tend to just believe in the universe. I don't know if there's a capital G God, but personally, I tend to view that the universe is a sentient being that we happen to be a part of, that our sentience combines to be a larger, huger, cosmic thing that none of us can really understand as human beings. But that's just my own personal views. You don't have to view that specifically, but when you learn to have a connection with the world, the physical world around you in this moment, a spiritual connection, like for me, I see signs. I was saying earlier there was a horn outside, and that was like a symbol for, connecting to my own personal guides. I feel like we all have spirit guides and connections. I know that from my own personal experience and building my own relationship and talking to other people who also view this. But regardless of how you see the world, it's this really great, astrologer who writes astrology for this newspaper called The Stranger here in Seattle, and I can't remember his name exactly, but he has this really great concept he coined in a book called pronoia. So how there's that there's paranoia, where we're afraid of the world around us, and we feel like the world is conspiring against us. He coined the phrase pronoia, which I actually really love, which is this idea that actually the universe is conspiring to help us, which is such a beautiful way to look at the world, right? That there is like this beautiful, there are beautiful signs all the time around you to convince you that the universe is here to help you, and it is conspiring to help you in every moment. And it's a choice, right? It's a choice, like that Five of Cups thing there. And it's hard to hear when you're stuck in deep dark days. Like, trust me, I understand how kind of like stupid that might feel, or like how like, when you are really just stuck in the deepest, darkest parts of reality, like the idea that like looking at the sunshine is going to help you when like the whole world is this nihilistic hellscape, like I understand it sounds stupid, right? Or it just sounds like childish and hollow, but really, you have the ability to look at the world from a new perspective, and in fact, you have the ability to start to see signs of beauty all around you. And it takes training. It takes training. It doesn't happen overnight. But the more that you learn to see it, the more it will fill your reality. Because our reality is so heavily shaped by our perspective of the world. As difficult as that sounds sometimes, I mean, it's so true. I studied anthropology. I have a degree in it from the University of New Hampshire. But one of the major things I learned in anthropology that kind of started me on my whole even spiritual journey eventually, like in doing this, like it all kind of comes from that, was this idea that like there is no like one way to look at the world. There is no specific way that reality is woven. I mean, we do have a scientific objective reality that we share through scientific evidence. I do actually believe in all of that, but that's just one lens to look at the world, and that actually our brains are set up in our societies through culture, our cultural foundations. Culture itself is a technology, because culture is a technology. It exists in such a way that we as individuals and as groups actually shape the reality around us. The fact that I am sitting at a table right now, table itself is a category. It's a language, it's a word. The fact that we have table in our culture doesn't necessarily mean that table exists in all possible human societies, right? There could be some third category that's a combination of tables and stools, and benches. They could all be one word. And so in that society, there is no table. There's only table, bench, chair, right? And that's it. And all of those things are just one thing. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but it shows that we have the ability that our very reality itself is malleable. And so when you get really stuck in the deep, dark recesses of humanity, those things are real, right? The darkness is a part of us, but it doesn't have to define us. And in fact, we have our shadow elements. All of us have shadow, but a lot of times those shadows are actually teaching us lessons. They're showing us actually some of where our strengths are. And so it's all about your perspective on it, It's all about learning how to see things from a new perspective and allowing yourself to change, allowing yourself to grow, allowing yourself to not say, oh man, the fact that, I'm just, it's not possible for me to be in a healthy relationship and that's it and all that. That's just a story you're telling yourself. Just because you grew up in a situation where you learned what a relationship was supposed to look like and it happened to be something that was unhealthy, that doesn't mean that you can't learn how to have a healthy relationship with yourself and with others. Not at all. It just means that that's the work that you have in this life. It just means that's the lesson that you're working on right now. And, it might take you time to move into something new. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be ashamed in that. It's just where you are right now. It's just what your story is. And you have the ability to change that story. You really do. And the final thought I'll let you in on is if you need actual help too, like I said, I do private readings, but you could actually talk to a real therapist or a relationship counselor or, someone else like that. I don't knock therapists at all. I've seen a therapist multiple times in my life, and clinical psychology can be incredibly helpful for certain situations because they have the tools to walk you through a lot of this kind of stuff that, I can ask the cards and the cards can help you out. But at the end of the day, I'm not a therapist. So just letting you know that that's another option out there. And in fact, it's an incredibly helpful option. And don't negate that. Anyway, pile number 3. I hope that resonates. I hope that helps you. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you think either way. I really do love hearing from everybody. If you would like a private reading with me, I've said it multiple times, but junodrome.com, I've got them there. And please feel free to subscribe to the channel. It really does help. We're going to be doing a giveaway when we reach 1,000 subscribers. We're in the 800s right now, so it's going up quick, which is great. But feel free to subscribe and share with your friends. Let them know that I'm around doing these tarot videos. I love doing it. And yeah, also give this a like, I guess. I think likes actually do help share, so feel free to like it as well. Anyway, pile number 4, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope to hear from you in the comments, and I hope to see you in the next video, so tune in for that. Anyway, have a great day. See you later.